It began with a tremor so faint that even the most advanced seismic sensors almost missed it, a silent shudder beneath the earth that carried no natural signature. Hidden deep below a remote region scarred by decades of geopolitical tension, something stirred with the precision of a machine and the volatility of an unseen threat. From orbit, the landscape appeared quiet and lifeless, a forgotten blot on the map rarely observed by anyone beyond regional monitors. Yet that tremor traveled upward through the layers of global intelligence systems like a whispered warning. It hinted not at an earthquake, but at a malfunction one, so catastrophic that it could ignite a chain reaction reaching far beyond borders. The threat was invisible, buried, and unannounced, the kind of danger nations only learn about when it's already too late. Inside the intelligence corridors of Langley, the environment thrummed with constant activity analysts absorbing data streams, algorithms cross-checking global anomalies, and satellites painting the world in high-resolution clarity. On an otherwise ordinary morning, a monitoring system flagged an irregularity originating from a nuclear power complex nestled within a heavily restricted zone. The facility had long been dormant, according to open-source satellite records, showing no heat signatures, no transport activity, no political acknowledgement. But new thermal readings told a different story. Sudden surge in temperature, so precise and localized, suggested machinery had been activated. The CIA discovered this anomaly through an automated analysis system not designed to detect nuclear incidents, but to identify concealed infrastructure. It was a single clue, small, technical, easily dismissibly. It carried the weight of something concealed with intention. During the discovery phase, analysts began to pick apart the anomaly, feeding it into multiple intelligence grids to trace its origins. Signals intelligence captured faint electromagnetic bursts emanating from the region, signals that resembled diagnostic tests from aging reactors rather than normal operational sequences. Cyber intel revealed encrypted maintenance protocols moving through a dark network, ordinarily used for illicit arms transfers. Satellite intel confirmed increased heat distribution beneath the facility, forming a pattern consistent with a reactor core waking from dormancy. Early signs of danger surfaced like cracks appearing in the hull of a submerged vessel, subtle but unmistakably threatening. No nation had reported activity at the site. No official declaration had been made. Yet the digital trail indicated a nuclear system being tampered with, potentially without safeguards, oversight, or competent control. Escalation began when multiple independent indicators converged. Langley approved the formation of a specialized task force, assembled quietly in a secured briefing chamber. Among them were nuclear analysts, clandestine operations officers, cyber warfare experts, and a small team experienced in reactor sabotage prevention. As they sifted through data, clues intensified. Satellite overlays revealed covert construction around ventilation towers. Intercepted shipping data showed the movement of heavy machinery under false registration numbers. Hidden movements surrounded the region-marked trucks, entering under cover of fog, restricted air corridors temporarily activated. Intelligence chatter suggesting foreign contractors arriving without diplomatic records. Secret meetings between senior officials in neighboring countries hinted at a looming crisis being discussed behind closed doors. Covert behaviors pointed toward a project resurrected in haste, under pressure and without proper controls. Confirmation struck with the force of a silent detonation when a deep cover agent inside a bordering nation intercepted a fragment of technical documents referencing the complex by codename. The translation confirmed it unmistakably. The facility was undergoing a rushed reactivation due to a geopolitical gamble, one meant to demonstrate energy independence or leverage, but executed by a team lacking operational expertise. A second confirmation came from an intercepted maintenance transmission that revealed a catastrophic detail: the reactor's coolant system, dormant for over a decade, was failing to synchronize with the control rods. Satellite imaging captured the swelling heat signature of the core, rising steadily toward levels associated with partial meltdown. It was no longer theoretical. A nuclear disaster was brewing beneath a region unprepared for it, one whose consequences would spill across borders, ecosystems, and generations. The CIA response unfolded like a shadow slipping beneath the world's awareness. Covert countermeasures were initiated on multiple fronts. Cyber infiltration teams penetrated the outdated digital control system of the facility through a backdoor embedded by the manufacturer decades earlier. Surveillance operations intensified as orbital satellites were repositioned to capture thermal and radiation signatures in near real time. Sabotage experts began crafting remote intervention protocols, methods to artificially trigger emergency cooling without exposing operatives to the radioactive environment. Deception tactics disrupted the covert contractors responsible for the reactivation, feeding them altered diagnostics that slowed their progress and created delays the task force desperately needed. Every action was calibrated not to draw attention from the host nation, whose defensive posture would escalate dangerously if foreign interference were discovered. The climax arrived when the full truth emerged, a revelation more alarming than anyone in the task force had anticipated. The reactor's core had not merely been reactivated, it had been modified. The modifications were rudimentary, experimental, wildly unstable, an attempt to boost output capacity using makeshift components from black market suppliers. Those components were mismatched, designed for entirely different reactor models, and introduced a flaw that made standard shutdown procedures impossible. Thermal scans revealed that the core temperature had reached a level at which the coolant pumps, already decades old, could fail entirely within hours. The most shocking discovery came when cyber operatives accessed a hidden directory inside the facility's network, a series of encrypted logs showing that multiple warnings had appeared in the control interface but had been overridden manually. Someone inside the facility had knowingly pushed the reactor toward criticality, perhaps to meet a political deadline or prove capability before an upcoming summit. Time accelerated. The CIA operatives initiated the remote protocol designed to force the emergency coolant injection. However, the system resisted the override due to the cross-wired modifications made by the contractors. The team deployed a harsher solution, a cyber-triggered shutdown sequence that effectively corrupted the reactor's automatic control software, forcing all secondary systems to behave as though a meltdown had already begun. This deception activated the fail-safe mechanisms buried deep within the reactor's design, mechanical redundancies that no amount of political ambition could fully disable. At the same moment, a covert drone delivered a micro-device to the facility's ventilation shaft, calibrated to disrupt the manual override consoles through an electromagnetic pulse. As these systems collapsed in synchronization, the temperature began to stabilize, dropping slowly, unevenly, but consistently until the reactor retreated from the brink of disaster. Resolution unfolded quietly, as all successful intelligence operations do. The host nation attributed the shutdown to a technical malfunction and halted its reactivation project without public explanation. The contractors vanished from the site, dismissed in silence, their involvement never recorded in any official registry. The nuclear complex returned to a state of artificial dormancy, its structure weakened, systems compromised, its future uncertain. The CIA task force dissolved, its operatives reassigned or sent back into deeper covers. Servers storing the operations logs were sealed, encrypted beyond classification, and buried within archival systems accessible only to a handful of individuals sworn to lifetime silence. The world moved forward without pause, blissfully unaware that a disaster capable of poisoning entire regions had been prevented through actions it would never see or acknowledge. In the final reflection, the operation became a silent reminder of the hidden battles that shape global stability. Intelligence work often thrives in the margins between disaster and prevention, between truth and secrecy, between the decisions nations declare and the ones they hide. The operatives who intercepted the nuclear threat would never see their work broadcast, never hear applause, never receive public gratitude. Their victory lived in the absence of tragedy, in the quiet continuation of lives untouched by the catastrophe that nearly occurred. And somewhere within the endless flow of global signals, new anomalies waited to be discovered. The world's safety depended not on headlines or public victories, but on unseen guardians trained to read the faintest ripples beneath the surface, forever scanning for the next silent threat rising from the shadows.